Howdy, this is David Groce, your Texas tax and lawman. Americans love pickup trucks. They're the #1 selling vehicle in America because of their utility and value. Whether we're going Old Town Road with the horses in the back, loading in the surfboards, our buddy's easy chair, or our lady friend's latest art project, a truck has the power and capacity to do the job. In modern business, a limited liability company, simply called an LLC, is the pickup truck of business. An LLC is the brainchild of the Cowboys in Wyoming's legislature, who wanted to give the average American the legal protection of a big fancy corporation while affording the simplicity of a sole proprietorship. They wrote the first law in 1978. Texas adopted its LLC statute in 1991, and the rest of the states followed suit, with all 50 states recognizing limited liability companies since the early 2000s. Today, LLCs are the go-to solution for new business startups. In this series, we will discuss the basics of how an LLC is formed, its powers, and how it is taxed. We'll talk about the most common uses of LLCs, from sole proprietorships to partnerships, S-corps, limited partnerships, and even corporate tax structures. We'll end by looking at some modern derivations, such as the series LLC. For today, let's begin with the legal underpinnings of an LLC. It is a state-created entity, it has state tax obligations, and it has federal tax obligations. First, LLCs must be created in a state. By that, I mean there are no federal LLCs. Under the U.S. Constitution, all rights not expressly granted to the federal government are reserved to the states. That means that each of the 50 states has the right to define the rules regarding property and property rights within their state. That means if you want to buy Texas real estate, you have to follow Texas law. If you want to buy a car in Colorado, you have to follow Colorado law. And if you want to create an LLC in Delaware, you have to follow Delaware's law, because Delaware law defines the rights, powers, duties, and obligations of an LLC created in Delaware and doing business in Delaware. I know that was a power-packed sentence, so let me unpack it. First, a state has a right to define property in the state and what entities can do business in that state. If an Oklahoma LLC wants to do business in Texas, then that Oklahoma LLC has to register in Texas, submit to the jurisdiction of Texas, and be bound by the laws of Texas to carry on business in the state. For some people, this is no big deal. They are Texas realtors and are going to sell Texas real estate, so it seems obvious they are subject to Texas law. But in our modern economy, where people sell products and services across state lines, like from Louisiana to Texas or Arkansas to Alaska, the rights of the company come into doubt. While the United States Constitution's full faith and credit clause requires one state to recognize the rights created in another state, a company must comply with the laws of the state in which it has a business residence and economic nexus. Long story short, for many of my clients doing business in different states, we often recommend creating a separate LLC in that state to carry out operations within that state. Second, LLCs have state tax filing responsibilities. Since the crash of 2008, almost every state has increased its state filing requirements. Most states require an annual filing to be in good standing, and also an annual income tax or franchise tax return for the business done by that LLC in that state. Third, LLCs have to file federal taxes. For individuals, we file a Form 1040 federal tax return with the IRS. Corporations file Form 1120, S-corps file Form 1120S, and partnerships file Form 1065. So what do LLCs file? An LLC tax return? Well, not quite. Welcome to the complexity and flexibility of an LLC, and where most accountants and lawyers get frazzled. Under Revenue Procedure 1996-01, the IRS created the check-the-box rules that let an LLC decide how it chooses to be taxed. That means that an LLC can be everything from a sole proprietorship and file Schedule C, or a farm that files Schedule F, or a real estate investment vehicle that files Schedule E, all on an individual Form 1040, or it can elect to be taxed as a corporation, an S corporation, or a partnership. To make that even more complex, an LLC's operating agreement can be tailored and designed to function from everything from a sole member LLC to a limited partnership to a series LLC. Well, if I lost you in the details, don't panic. Stay tuned through this series as we walk through the parts and pieces of an LLC and then address each of these variations in turn. If you're a motorhead, a fan of the Fast and the Furious, or an old grease monkey who loves his hot rods, think about an LLC like a pickup truck. Some people are rolling in the Beverly Hillbillies rickety old hoopty, or some of us are driving Diesel Brothers' latest custom rig, or maybe like me, sporting the Teddy Bear Mobile. Until next time, adios. Texas Tax and Lawman Legal Disclaimer. Hey, I'm a lawyer. You know I have to have some lawyer mumbo jumbo. This is a general information video, not client attorney privilege information. The content is information only and is not directed to any specific facts or circumstances and cannot be relied upon as a legal opinion, even though that would be nice and save you a trip to the lawyer. If you have a specific legal question, feel free to contact David Groce directly or seek qualified legal or tax counsel in your state of residence, state of mind, or whatever place you call home.